but I started saying, hey, how much alcohol is too much alcohol? And I started thinking and getting curious. And I noticed a term on social media, sober curious. And I was intrigued by it. And I'm like, huh, I want to be sober curious. Like, I wonder what that'd be like. So 2020 happened.
Mhm.
I was drinking heavily before 2020 happened, and I just continued that pattern in the pandemic. But I also had time to research and look.
Hey everyone, it's Tony Will. Oh my gosh, you guys are in for a treat today. Another great episode of Women In. I cannot wait for you to meet my next guest. But before you meet her, let me tell you what you're listening to. Women In is a podcast that celebrates women from all walks of life and the people who uplift them. Each episode features incredible voices from my world, sharing stories that spark inspiration, challenge the status quo, and remind us that empowering women empowers everyone. This is a bold, curious, and uncensored space where disruption is welcome, forward thinking is encouraged, and change is the goal. I'm passionate about breaking down barriers, not just for us, but for the next generations. Whether our paths cross professionally or personally, these conversations matter. Let's dive in and celebrate the power of connection, growth, and the people who are shaping our world, and this woman is one of them for sure. Cari Wolters knows what it feels like to appear successful on the outside while quietly struggling on the inside. After years of building businesses and using wine to calm anxiety and shut off a constantly active mind, curiosity eventually led her to an alcohol-free life that changed everything. Today, she's a certified life coach, Affective Liminal Psychology practitioner, and founder of Sober Curious Life Coaching, where she helps high achievers who can't seem to turn it off break free from habits that leave them anxious, stuck, and disconnected from themselves. With a background in social work, special education, behavior systems, and business leadership, Cari combines science-backed strategies with compassion and emotional awareness to help clients create meaningful, lasting change. Her mission is to help people build lives they no longer want to escape from. She also serves as a Community Outreach Liaison for Pasadena Villa Grand Rapids, connecting individuals, families, and professionals to meaningful mental health support. Hey, Cari.
Wow, I got chills. That's cool.
I do this by design. I like to read my guest bio live in front of them because I think we don't get to hear what we've built over our lifetime, and it's a moment to sit in that and reflect and celebrate.
Yeah, it gets me a little emotional with that emotional awareness piece. Thanks for doing that. That's really sweet. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, my pleasure. Okay, so I always like to start the podcast in the same spot, which is how we came into each other's lives. So how did you and I meet?
So we met through This Naked Mind Institute, which is where we got our certification to be what I call alcohol freedom coach or a sober curious coach. Other people have different words for their coaching. That's how we met. I actually heard you in a meeting once while I was trading talk about how how you do business and who you are, and you're like, reach out to me anytime for support, and you're like, and I bet you none of you will do that. Most of you probably won't do that. And I was like, the nerve, and I was like, she's my person. She's my person. So I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a little bit while I'm certified. I get some reps under me, and then I did reach out to you recently, just being inspired. You've worked with another entrepreneur that I know, and you've helped her, which has been great. And so that's really how we met, and I really appreciated and enjoyed our conversation from this past February, where you really inspired me.
Oh, well, thank you. And I do say that. So, people, if you're listening to my listeners, I always offer up time for anyone that wants to bend my ear or just talk or meet or build a relationship for 30 minutes. I always do. And but I say, and I probably should work on my deliveries when I'm learning. But when I'm like, yeah, you can reach out to me, but most people really don't. And I'm like, no, really, because one of what things that it's important to me is to be relatable and be of service to others. I really believe in servant leadership. So I'm glad you took me up on that, and I'm going to work on my delivery.
Well, the delivery got me here, so I don't know if you need to work on it.
So Okay, we were talking off air, and I was like, this is such a great conversation. Let's bring it
Yeah.
online. And so you have a coaching business like I
Yes.
do. So I want you to tell the story, like why you started the coaching business, and maybe you step back and talk about your relationship with alcohol first, which led you to the certification, which led you to starting a business, your goal for the business, and then where you are now in your coaching business and working full time. So let's walk that path together and tell the
Yeah.
story.
Okay, here we go. Buckle up, strap in. So in my past life, I kind of say that in my past life, I am have the background in special education. I'm a social worker. I have a BSW. I have a background in education as well. So I worked with emotionally impaired kids and kids on the spectrum in the classroom setting, and some in alternative education, and then other kids in just like a resource room. And so I did that for a decade, and I got great experience. I really love that. And the culture there with teaching is happy hour is our thing. Like we go to happy hour, and we're going to
Hmm.
happy hour on Wednesdays because it's hump day, and then we're going to happy hour on Fridays because come on, it's Friday, and then it turned into Thirsty Thursday somehow. So it was a progression, but it
Yeah.
started early in my career where I just found ways to be able to unwind with alcohol, and that was just sort of a belief I have. It's like, okay, it's the weekend, time to unwind. That led me then into my 30s where I started having children, or I had really little ones, and I wanted to work from home. So I started building businesses for other companies, and specifically in the network marketing space, started branding myself on social media over 15 years ago, and really had a lot of fun with that because I was able to provide for my family and be home, be like that work from home mom. So it was really great. And during that time as well, my mom died of cancer. And that was very traumatic for
Mm.
me. I was only 32 years old at the time. That was 13 years ago. So you all know my age now. Uh, and 13 years ago, she died. And she was one of my best friends. And that really impacted my life. She's an inspiration to me. My mom has always been. She's the woman that wears all the hats, does all the things, right? And so I really missed her, and I had some grief and trauma with that. And I found alcohol to be a good source of comfort and a coping strategy for my anxiety and my grief. And that, while having little ones, while building businesses, I also am a high achiever. So I have a little bit of trauma. I have a little bit of like grief going on. I also am a high achiever. So I want to make it to the top of the company. And I successfully did that twice in these companies. I was able to make it up there, and I loved it. I like to have influence. Servant leadership is my heart, serving people to the highest level, whether it benefits me or not, and just putting it all out there. And it also unfortunately came at a cost to my mental health. And that's when I started drinking on the daily, was more when I'm making it to the top of these companies and I'm noticing I can't, my racing thoughts, I can't shut them off. And so I use alcohol, I drink, and it went from those fun happy hours to it's every night. I'm drinking wine. I'm, it's really debilitating in the sense of I might have a hangover, I might not, depending on how much I drink. And I could just be, though I would like outwork it. I don't know if you can resonate with that, but I would just like outwork everything.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your story could have been my story.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I noticed, I'm like, wow, now I'm not just drinking wine, I'm drinking liquor, and I'm trying to get a buzz quicker. And it was every night. I would never go down the path of saying, hey, I need to go to detox. It wasn't like that, or go to a 12 a program. Okay, what does it mean to be alcohol free? I had some defining moments in my relationship with my husband and my family where I was like, okay, this is now getting in the way of me even trying to meet some goals that I have. I hired a life coach and a therapist. I became sober curious, and my business started to tank a little bit, right? And I'm no longer, and I just remember my life coach at the time, we had a call like this. She was also my business coach because I love coaching. I think everyone needs coach in their life
Yeah.
to get better. Yeah,
Totally
let's get
agree.
better.
Yeah.
Like kind of
Totally
chase the
agree.
person you want to be a little bit. And so she just looked at me and she says, I don't know what's going on with you. I was sober curious, so I was still drinking on and off. I still hadn't decided one way or the other. She goes, I don't know what's going on with you, Cari. You're obviously your numbers are dipping, but she's like, there's more to it. And until you figure out what's going on in your heart, you're gonna be stuck. So I want you to figure that out. And it was the first time someone confronted me on something like that. And I looked at her with just tears running down my eyes, and I'm like, I know what it is. I know what it is. I said, it's alcohol. And she goes, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, it's alcohol. I drink every night. I have for years to take the edge off. And she was just like, I had no idea. And that's when really my journey began. And I did it on my own. I kind of white knuckled everything. I'm like experimenting. I'm going to drink on only Fridays. I'm only going to have a glass of wine on Sunday. How do I feel when I'm not drinking? Like I did it all on my own, you know?
Yep.
And then I decided, all right, I'm going to be alcohol free. Like this is not working. I remember I was at a Super Bowl party in 2022, 4 years ago. And, I hadn't drank in months, and my bestie was like, let's have some wine. It's Super Bowl party. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And my two kids, look at me and they see me with a glass of wine and they're like, hey, Mom, I didn't think you were doing that anymore. And I was like, yeah, I haven't been. And tonight I'm choosing to, and we all get to make choices, but yeah, that's true. And it really stuck with me. I'm like, my kids are watching, my kids are watching. And I thought I did drive them home. I was safe. I was okay. But I was just like, that was my moment that I'm like, I want to get healthy for my kids. Like, I don't need this in my life anymore. And I want to be an example. They're watching. And the next day I went to the gym. I said, I'm going to be alcohol free. I'm not going to touch it again. It was like my brain just needed a couple of data points to say, this no longer serves me. And I haven't touched it since. I have no desire. In that process, I started Googling, like, does anybody talk about sober curious? Does anybody talk about being alcohol free instead of sober? And Annie Grace did, and I didn't know that. And I got her book from the library. I checked it out at the library. I went to the pool. My kids are swimming, and I'm looking, and I'm like, she's speaking my language. I've already done this. I've been like experimenting. Wow, it's all related to my beliefs. And I just was really intrigued. I read the book in like a couple days. And I found out she had a coaching program, and I decided to take my pain and make it my purpose. I like to say I had a lot of pain in there and a lot of life coaching and a lot of therapy. And then I was like, I'm going to give back to this community. I'm going to show high achieving women, like, they don't have to live this way. We don't need a vice to shut off at night. There's another way. And maybe it has to do with what we believe, and maybe we need to experiment before we make that choice. Maybe what if we don't even make that choice? What if it's just like, today I'm not going to have alcohol, but I'm going to have my poppy instead, which I love that beverage, or my Zevia or whatever,
Yep.
So that's how I found This Naked Mind, was Googling and the book. And then I got into their coaching program, and I said, I'm going to make this a career out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've built businesses before. I know what it's like to be a work from home mom. My businesses, I just really didn't have that passion anymore for the business I was doing. So I transitioned it into life coaching. I started building that, got my certification. And also in that time, I was a behavior specialist at the public schools here in the area. I worked with kids on the spectrum in their house, working in ABA therapy and helping kids in that area. And I really enjoyed it because I know that coaching and creating a business, that's difficult. And so I wanted to have some income there to be able to support this new adventure of entrepreneurship, of building this. And so that's kind of the story, Tony. And so where I'm at now, which I know you asked that question too, I had that conversation with you. I've always considered going back to work full time. My kids are now teenagers. I'm going to have a senior in the fall time. They're just getting a little bit older. I don't have to do as much for them. And I just thought, you know what, maybe I can go back to work full time. And we had a conversation about that. And I think one of the things that I've changed my beliefs in, and we talked about this, is, so many coaches that are in a life coach or alcohol freedom coach or whatever you call it, sober curious coach, we get the certification, we quit our job and think, oh, this is just going to work because I'm certified now. And when we talked, you were like, that's the biggest mistake that people make. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because I did that a little bit, and I've always had the pressure. I got to get more people in my funnel. Come on, let's go, let's go. But once I had that part-time job to help out, great. So then I had an opportunity to work for a mental health company in the area. It kind of fell in my lap through all the networking we get to do as entrepreneurs. I've met this company over a year ago, kind of been dating them, should we say. And an
Hmm.
opportunity
Yeah.
came about. We had had a conversation about how you work full time and have your coaching business, and I was very inspired by that. And I said, you know what? I can work full time. I can do this. So I said yes to that opportunity 6 weeks ago. And here we are. I'm working full time for this company. I love it, helping people get the services they need in mental health, connecting them with resources. And then I get my passion project. So I've been able to reframe that. That's changed for me. Coaching's now my passion project. I now have a wait list. I can actually raise my prices because my time is really valuable now. And there's only so many hours in a day, right? And here's what I want to tell like coaches and high achievers and people who have a hard time shutting off and maybe you've gone alcohol free. I kind of struggled with wanting to take a full-time job again because I thought, can I do it being alcohol free? Can I do it? Am I going to be able to shut
Hmm.
off at night? And 6 weeks later, I'm like, yeah, I can. It's not even a thought. It's not even a thought. Actually, I can do it all. And my sleep scores are really great. And that's such a big thing when you go sober. Like, oh,
It is. It is. I used to wear a Whoop back in my Tony Party Time days, and I would take it off if I were drinking because I mean, this data didn't lie. I mean, I wouldn't recover, and I'm like, how is that possible? I didn't understand the
right.
science behind it, and then I got sober all those years ago, and then I don't wear technology anymore, but I used to, and I'm like, man, it is so gratifying when you get really good sleep, but then not to shit all
Yeah.
over these trackers, but if I eat too much sugar, and yeah, sugar's it's a
Yeah.
whole other beast, but it'll affect my sleep too. And I'm like, I
I
don't
don't need
need
to
to
know
know
that. I'm
that.
taking this thing off. Goodbye. I'm going to eat the sugar.
I know, and I'm like, maybe it is good to know that stuff. But I mean, Carrie, your story is so, and what I wanted to dive into was your story, obviously, but I also want to talk about how you really like it's hard when you're an
Yes.
entrepreneur. What the one thing, and I know you and I share this because it's not like this was your first
Right.
business you started, but entrepreneurs hate being
Oh
told
my
what to
God.
do. We don't like to we don't like to work for other
No.
people, do we?
No.
No. No. And it's not that we're trying to be assholes or anything. We just are super when we're high achieving and you're intrinsically driven, you don't need someone hovering over you telling you what to do cuz you'll just
Yeah.
figure it out and do it. And then when there's corporate America, some people that don't understand our personalities don't understand that they're like we value agency and autonomy. So it's really
Yeah.
scary to consider going back to
Yeah.
full-time work, but you're
Yes.
doing that, and so you kind of did the inverse because your goal originally was, okay, I'm going to coach, I'm going to do this full time, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm holding on
Yeah.
to this so tightly, maybe I can do both. And you believe, this is what I heard you say, you believe you can do
Yes.
both.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the differentiator. I never stopped considering until you and I were talking off air that maybe people don't believe that they can
That's
do
right. I,
both.
I do agree with that because I know for 3 years I believed I couldn't do both. I thought there's no way.
Tell me more. Yeah, why? Tell me more
Um,
about why you didn't think you could
Yeah,
do
I
both.
think that it was kind of like, well, I need to network. I need to go out and be in the community and network and be at networking events, and I've got to be at leadership conferences, and I need to have a table at these women's events and these expos, and people need to see me. I need to get out there, and I won't have time. That was me. I'm not gonna have time to work full time and have my passion project and coach because this is my coaching is my heart and the love of my life, right? Like I get so energized in the I'm my best self when I'm coaching, and yet it's not providing for my family, right, the way that I want it to. And so I just believed there wasn't enough time for me to work full time, and that's a lie that I was believing. Yeah, and I also believed that it would, because I know my personality, being a high achiever, that I wouldn't be able to do it alcohol free. I kind of had this little fear, like this little thing, like, can I really? Because this is the first time I've had super full-time job corporate America again since in the past decade. I mean, I've worked for other companies part-time, but not like this.
Yeah, and I wonder too, if was there ever the narrative in your head like if the my corporate job knows I'm doing this side business, they won't let
Yes.
me?
So it was the first conversation I had in the interview, and that's how they met me. They're like, "We know you have a business. We know you're a life coach." And I'm like, "Do you think this is going to be a conflict of interest?" And they're like, "No, I don't think that will be." And I said, ethically, I would never use my time for your company for my business. I just won't do that. That's not in my ethics, integrity, values. They're like, okay, we believe that. And then as I'm in this for 6 weeks, my boss, who's incredible, she's always a step ahead, right? She's one of those women that's like, I want to be like you one day. Like, I want to chase you. Same with you, Tony. You're just like a step ahead of me. And I love
Mhm.
that. We're the 5 people that we hang out with. So I just am like, I want to chase my boss, right? And she's always empowering me and showing me. And she goes, Cari, it's a gift that you're a life coach. You're a clinician. You're working with clinicians every day. You're in the therapy world. You're going out in the community and telling therapists about our services. But you're also a clinician that needs these services. So it's great. And I was like, there goes that belief. Yeah.
Yeah. Your boss is very smart and open-minded and understands. I believe, and it's only because I've been living this way for
Yeah.
5.5 years now in terms of
Yeah.
balancing both, is that I'm better at both of my jobs because I'm doing them both.
Mm.
Like they can serve one another. And that's
Yep.
exactly what you
Yep.
were describing. And I will also say, from a time standpoint, because we are juggling so much between our passion projects, our corporate careers, our
Yes.
children, our husbands, the household, all these things, we we're decisive. And
Perfect.
one other piece of advice I give is make a decision and make it the right one. I'm going to go out on a limb as I'm getting to know you that you're not hemming and hawing over certain decisions. You just have to do it because you have limited
Yes, that's
time.
exactly how I work. Yes. Yeah. And that's actually something my boss is teaching me right now, which is why I feel so empowered. It's like, well, just get it done. You just do it. Just get on your phone and do it. Just go do that. Write the quick email. Just quick fill out that form. Just do it. And something with my other business, it's like work in the nooks and crannies. I learned that too. So I'm out in the field. We call it like meeting other people and community partners. Someone wants our services, I'm going to quick get on a phone call and call them right now instead of like, wait till I get back in my office, wait till it's like, oh, I'm just going to do it real quick.
Yeah, you know what I give this visual of like my day job, my
Yeah.
pro hockey job is just rocks in a tube, and then the sand is my coaching business, my conference, my podcast, the book, and the sand just fills in where the rocks aren't taking up space, and
Wow.
that's how I have built this because everyone's like, how do you balance it? I'm like, well, you just fit it in. It's like Tetris. You fit it in and where and the sand just fills in the spaces where the rocks are and it makes it work. And so, but I don't have time to fiddle fart.
No, we don't.
I love that word.
I do too. I love your analogy,
So
by the way. That was really great visual. So I'm sure it'll help so many other people too. That's just helped me because I'm like, yeah, the rocks is my corporate job. My passion project are the sand in there. It's beautiful analogy, but yeah, we don't have time to, would you say fiddle fart? No.
we don't have time to fiddle fart. And I think a lot of women get stuck in that headspace of making, I want to make the right decision. And I've even found myself lately in that headspace with my book coming out. And I'm like, I don't want to misstep. And I'm like, what is there to misstep, Tony? Like, why are you overthinking this? Normally, I'm not like that. And so and I think giving up alcohol and helping other people
Yeah.
as a coach, like see themselves allows us to learn ourselves better. So
Yeah.
what have you learned about yourself? The one of the biggest lessons you've learned after giving up drinking about yourself.
Oh, wow. Yeah. One of the biggest lessons I've learned about giving up drinking.
That wasn't on my list of questions either.
It
That's
wasn't,
why.
but I'm like, I like it so much. Oh, um, Goodness. Wow. Like I am just who I've been created to be will make a difference in this world. I can make an impact and I can make a difference in people's lives by just being Cari. And I think I didn't want to be here for a while. I didn't know if it was acceptable to
Yeah.
be me, especially women empowerment. And I'm more feminist minded. And women in my world as a little kid, we were not dominant, right? I grew up in patriarchy. And so I think that was always there. That's like, can I really be the breadwinner? Can I really be the one to do right? And so my biggest lesson is like, okay, alcohol was making me small, and now alcohol freedom is making me really big. And it's time to go make a difference in the world. And let's go. And I just got chills. Like, I'm allowed to be
Yeah.
myself.
It is a
Yeah.
huge shift. So how did that, so with your parenting and your marriage, how did you quitting drinking change those identities and those parts of your life?
Yeah, so I had this identity with my kids while when I was drinking, that I was a terrible mom. I had this thing in my head, like you're a bad mom. You're not a very nice mom. You yell. You do this with the kid. You blah, 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 blah. Like I'm this terrible mom, which I had my moments, but I don't think I was that bad. But alcohol was sort of telling me that
No.
cognitive dissonance. And so when I stepped into alcohol freedom, I remember because my kid was, let's see, he's 12 when I was alcohol free. And then, so probably when he was 13, he made a comment of like, Mom, you're like super calm now. And like, I don't see you with a wine glass every night. And I'm like, yeah, I don't drink anymore. Did you know that? He's like, yeah, I've noticed. And I'm like, yeah. And just really happy. And I want to spend time with you guys. I feel really at peace. And he's just like, mm-hmm, okay. Just watching, just listening. And my daughter is just 4 years younger, so she's still pretty little, and I just really am a great mom to her. And I am now too. Like
Yeah.
my identity has shifted into like I'm not a very good mom into like I'm like a kick butt mom. Like I'm gonna learn how to like
Yeah.
yeah for my daughter and for my son, and I would say that has been healed a lot now. My son has truly turned like one of my fears was that I wouldn't be able to repair that relationship with him, and it is repaired. It is beautiful. He's my boy. He's like a mama's boy now. Like my husband even said it's kind of shifted a little bit where my daughter's a little more with
Hmm.
my husband and my son's a little bit more with me, which is fine. But like I do believe in spirituality, like God repaired that. And I'm really proud of that because I had to do
Yeah.
some hard work. I had to change a lot of narratives in my head to be like, no, I am a good mom and get the reps in and get the data and say, I do show up for you. I am here for you. I will pick you up from school. I will be at your sporting stuff. It was one of my fears getting a corporate job. Like, am I going to be able to go to all my kids' stuff? And you know what? I'm not. I'm not. But that doesn't mean I'm a bad mom.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
just my kids know it and they
Exactly.
trust me and they believe it. So when I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not going to make it today, but I'm going to be there today. We have regionals. I'm like, I'm going to be there Friday afternoon. I'm going to be there. Okay. And he's like, I know you will. I'm like, okay, I'll watch your replays, but I'm going to be there. I think there's just so many narratives as a woman that we're told, and we have so much guilt and shame, and we're supposed to like run it all that it's like, let's just take the pressure off. And what if we do run it all? And that's okay. But like,
Yeah.
stop believing that narrative of guilt and shame.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. I underscore, highlight, bold, all the things. So, Carrie, you've mentioned three women as we've been talking. I always keep an ear out for it, but I know there's more. But that you mentioned your mom, your boss, and your daughter. But who are the women, and they could be these three plus others, or maybe just these three that have made you the woman that sits before me today?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say my mom, for sure. She nurtured me and she ran a household. She ran my dad's business. I come from an entrepreneur family, high achieving family, and so she really did it all. And she did it with a smile on her face and makeup on. And she was also a different generation, but Yeah, different
Yeah.
generation there, which I mad respect for. But she taught me so much about like how to be present in your family. Uh, Another one is my life coach. Did you write that one down? So my
I
life coach.
didn't. Who's
Yeah.
your coach?
You want her name? Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
give her a
let's give her
shout
a
out.
shout
Shay
out.
Greenwood. She is my coach. She's been my business partner as well. She's also taught me how to be an
Awesome.
entrepreneur and do it in a way that is fun and that uses my strengths. And she calls me out
Yeah.
on stuff. She calls me out on stuff. She messaged me the other day and she said, "Okay, it's Monday. Do you still love Mondays?" And I said, "I do. I love Mondays. I love my job." And she's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, just making sure, just checking in. You know, that's good. That's a good person." She's
Yeah.
also someone that has deep faith that I really respect, just like my mom did. And, I no longer have that figure in my life. And so I really see her as my older sister. And I go to her with family things as well and for prayer and stuff like that. Another woman is a life coach.
Mm.
And her name, yeah,
I
she's
love it.
a life coach for moms, working moms. I met her, while I was networking for my business. Her name's Jill Goody. Shout out to her. She is, well, it's interesting. I don't know if you had this in your alcohol free journey, but like your friends change. And I wanted them to
Hmm.
change. Like I welcomed the change.
Yep.
I didn't see it as grief. I saw it as like, okay, I need new people to help me and encourage. And I'll never forget it. I think I'm year one of being alcohol free. So she's been my friend for 3 years. And um, I met her, and the minute I met her, just like you, where I looked at her and I said, "I want you to be my friend. We're gonna be
Aw.
friends, okay?" And she's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "No, for real. Like we're gonna be friends. I'm gonna be intentional about this." A couple weeks later, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" "Yeah, I want to go for a walk." Great. And then that started our friendship. We haven't stopped walking and talking. We talk every single week, and she encourages people. She's a
Hmm.
life coach. She has the mindset. She's super sharp. Um, she's one of my people. So I think, yeah, I'm trying
Oh,
to think if
that's
there's
awesome.
anyone else. You, of course, just you're inspiring me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's hey, it's a
Okay.
solid list, and it is. I mean, and sometimes when I do these interviews, the answer is I didn't have anyone that helped made me the woman I am before me. It's all men, and so you have a beautiful tribe of women, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love hearing. And it's intentional, like you're saying. I want you in my life. You're looking at these women, and there's power in that. Not waiting for it to come to you. You're going to it.
Yes. Yes. I would say that's probably your strength and my strength as well. It's just like I'm going to go to it and make the change. Because really no one else is going to do it for me, I don't think. Um, and then when and then when those
No.
glimmers or those extra things come in, like this job that I just got fell in my lap, it's like, well, that was beautiful. Didn't really work hard for that. Didn't have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you were looking for it, it wouldn't have, if you were trying to find a job like that, it would have
Yeah, isn't
never
that
worked out.
interesting? You're right.
Uh-huh. It's the law of attraction. I just read a book on the law of attraction because it's an intriguing topic to
Okay.
me. And yeah, by Michael Lozier, but Jerry and Esther Hicks are big in the law of attraction too. And I'm going to read another one.
Yeah, that's
Um, is
yeah.
it the seven? I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna read. I'm intrigued by that because it's really about the energy we
It
put
is.
out in the world, and it goes back to this having two jobs. Like I launched my coaching business truly, like you said, as a passion project and an insurance policy, so I wouldn't go back to Tony Party
I
time.
love that.
But the thing is, I was holding it. Yeah, I was holding it so loosely that because it wasn't what I was doing to put food on the table or a roof over our head. So I was attracting that. Like I wasn't desperate.
Mm,
And that's what's helped me
yeah,
build the business. And similar to what you're describing with your coaching business, it's like now I have a wait list. Yeah, my rates are going to go up. And all like you're going to attract more people because you're not desperate. People can, you've been around salespeople who are just desperate for the sale. And that's not how we operate, which is why I'm a big fan of not either or, but yes and. Yes, I have a day job and I have a passion project,
that's
coaching
right. That's
business,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, that was super transformative and something I like to talk to my clients about is like both and it can both be hard and I get to look at this in a different way. I just think that's a great space.
Yes.
I can work full time and I can coach. Like we can do it. It's just finding out how, and we can be um, healthy, mentally healthy. You know, I'm this weekend. I'm not doing
Yes.
anything. It's on
Yeah.
purpose. It's on purpose.
Amen. Amen. Cari, what are you learning about? What's in your ears, or what are you reading? I say what's in your ears, like podcasts,
Yeah.
or so. Tell us what you're reading or listening
Yeah.
to
Have
these
you
days.
heard of Jen Hatmaker? She's an author and an
No.
influential woman, you know, in her 50s now, and I've been following her for a decade or
Hmm.
two. I'm reading her book, Awake, really great. I've read Glennon Doyle, if you've heard of her.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
the
yeah.
book Untamed, fabulous. That changed my life,
Yep.
and the journal that goes with it. Read it twice, recommend it to my clients. Miracle Morning actually helped me create
Mm.
a really it has an app and it helps me create a really stellar morning routine, which I thrive off of. I told myself when I was drinking I'm not a morning person, but of course I wasn't a morning person
Mm.
because I was drinking. So like I told myself I'm like pretty much for 20 years I'm not a morning person and I wanted to reverse that. I like wanted to challenge myself. So I read Miracle Morning and I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I can do these things. And so that was a great book for my life. Helped me organize my morning before I start work. Here are the things that I get to do for me. Um, what else am I? Okay, the book. Well, I did like the Let Them theory. I did like that one for
Yeah.
boundaries. Mel
Mel
Robbins.
Robbins. Yeah.
That's been a
Hmm.
great book in the last year. I could say so many more.
No, you know
Okay.
what? That's good. That's a good list. You, there's some good nuggets in there. People are like, you read a lot. I can tell,
Okay,
like
but I
me.
do. I
I
have to
love to read.
share. I love novel, but I like psychological thrillers. I'm crazy. My
Hmm.
husband thinks I'm nuts. I'll read it before bed, but I love it. I'm reading Frida
Oh yeah,
McFadden.
yeah. I love the. I have a lot
Yeah,
of her
same.
books.
I
Yeah.
just love it. So that's a,
Oh, good. I'm reading The Wedding People right now. It's not a psychological thriller, but I think Jenna Bush has a book club or something, and I happened to
oh,
stumble upon it, and I'm like, it's really
oh,
good.
I'm
So
gonna
The
have to
Wedding
read it.
People. Yeah,
Haven't read it yet.
yeah. Um, so one of the things we talked about off air again, but I haven't asked this question on my podcast in a while, and you had brought it up, and I'm like, oh, I'll ask her. What have you changed your mind about
Yeah,
lately?
I changed my mind about you know, can I coach and
Yeah.
um, work a full time job? Can I do both? Can I do my passion and can I work full time? And can I do it alcohol free? And
And
absolutely.
yeah.
I changed my mind that like I can provide for my family and I can also, you know, do what I love. So I actually love both, which is helpful. But you know, you gotta like your job, I feel like. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, a fun question. A fun question. And you listen to the podcast, so you might have heard me
Yes.
ask this one. Um, this is about
Oh,
laundry.
did just
Okay, so
I think
do you
so.
know this question?
Okay,
That
give
I'm
yes.
gonna. Do you separate your
Uh-huh.
lights and darks, or do you throw them all in at the
Yes,
same
so I
time?
separate, but if I have something that's not looking great, it's a little beat up, I don't care. So,
Okay, so a little
yeah.
combo.
Yeah. It's not recommended.
Little
It's not
combo.
recommended,
Okay,
but I get a little lazy.
I got a new one for you that I haven't heard yet, but I've started asking. It
Oh,
just they
okay.
haven't aired yet, so you won't know. Okay, so this one's about travel and air travel
Okay.
specifically. So there's two types of people: those who will only take a carry-on, and those who will check their bag. Which one are you?
Ooh. How long's the trip? Okay. 7
7
days.
days. 7 days.
Oh, wow. I want to try hard for that carry on. I really do. Because I do not want to wait for that checked bag. But because we got stuff to do. But I'll do a checked bag. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say if you're pausing, like you wanted. So this is like laughable because I'm crazy when it comes to checked like luggage, and by that I mean I went to Europe for 2 weeks with a carry-on
What? How did you do that? Oh, okay. You
laundry.
just did laundry. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just I hate checking bags, and it's so irrational. It's like I'm
Yeah.
allergic to it.
Okay. I'm curious. Maybe you've already talked about this, but what's irrational about it?
Well, it's just I'm so like that I've always wanted to carry on. I don't know. I just feel like I might like the zippers broke sometimes. Like Tony, just
Yeah.
check a bag. Like get a bigger suitcase and just check it. And I did it once this hockey season where I checked a bag and I made fun of myself. I didn't write about it. I probably should. But it wasn't a big
Yeah.
deal. Like I didn't have to wait too
Okay.
long. And I always like to be in forward
Yeah.
motion,
Huh. Yeah.
like I don't like to just be standing around. But I think it's just because I'm so used to being overly busy.
Probably.
So,
Probably. It's okay to slow down and do a check bag.
yeah, exactly. But I always like to hear people's point of view on that. Oh my
This
gosh,
is
this
great.
is so funny. Okay, I want to know, we're going to wrap this up, but what is your ideal coaching client? They're going to go on a wait list if they reach out to you. We know
Yes.
that. But who's your ideal client and where can they find you?
Yeah, my ideal client is a person. It could be man or a woman. Like I do both now, which has been really fun. I've really enjoyed working with everyone. Really high achievers who have a hard time shutting off, and they're using a vice to shut off. And they're curious and they're open and they want to grow in this area, and they're looking at it saying, could there be another way? Maybe they've experimented with being sober curious. Maybe they've tried to unwind in a different way, and they just need a little bit of help of doing that. That's truly my ideal client. And what else did you ask me? Oh, Sober Curious Life.
Where
Oh,
can
yeah,
they find you?
SoberCuriousLifeCoaching.com.
And on
Social
social
media,
media.
Cari Wolters on LinkedIn and Cari Wolters on Facebook, and then Sober Curious Life on Instagram. So, yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
she's active, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. Cari, it's such a pleasure to have you on the podcast and get to know you better as we talk, whether we're recording or not. I'm really happy for you and what you built and what
Thanks,
you continue
Tony.
to do.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I am not hard to find, y'all. The hockey side of my life is at kwings.com. And then everything else I'm working on, including my book, Rebellious Success, it is available for pre-order now. It will be on bookshelves and in mailboxes on August 11th. And all of that can be found at tonywill.com. And I, too, am on all the social media platforms under Tony Will. And until next time.